favorite feature of mine in Excel 2010 is the ability to create charts. And when I use the term charts, I'm talking about a column chart or a pie chart. This video shows you the steps that you would go through to create a column chart, for example, or to create a pie chart. Enjoy the video. I'm at a Microsoft Excel worksheet that shows a list of different suppliers that are selling some medications or meds to a hospital, also some supplies that are being sold to a hospital. I want to use this worksheet as an example of creating a chart or a graph in Microsoft Excel. The first chart that I want to create will be a column chart. So the steps for creating a chart, column chart, or a pie chart are as follows. First of all, select the cells that you want to include in your chart. So in this case, I want to go to cell A4, get the white selecting cross. I'll hold my mouse button down and come across to column B, and then drag all the way down to the bottom of row 15. I've selected the cells that I want to include in my chart, and I've also included the headings as well. Those headings will find themselves a home in the chart. The next step is I go above the ribbon and I click on the Insert tab. I want to insert a chart into my worksheet. Up in the ribbon area, there's a Charts group. In the Charts group, it shows different icons that represent the different kinds of charts, a column chart, a line chart, for example. I'll click on the Column button. I'll get a drop-down list. In the drop-down list, I'm going to choose the one below where it says 3D column. It'll say 3D clustered column. I'll click on that, and it real quickly produces the chart for me. Now the chart's been produced, and what I want you to notice is that there's a border around the chart, which means the chart is active. And because the chart is active, you get something at the top of your ribbon area called On-Demand Tools. In this case, it's green, and it says Chart Tools. If I were to click away from my chart, the On-Demand Tools disappear from the ribbon. If I go back inside the chart border and click, the chart is now active again, and the On-Demand Tools show up. What I want to do in this case is I want to take the chart and move it from the existing sheet onto a brand new sheet. By default, when Excel builds a chart, it automatically wants to put the chart as an object or a part of the sheet that you're working on. I want to move this to a different sheet, so I want to take my mouse to the right-hand side of the ribbon. I'll look for the button that says Move Chart. I'll click on that. It takes me into a Move Chart window. In this window, again, it wants to, by default, put the chart as an object in the sheet that I'm in. Right now, I'm in a sheet called Formula. I want to put this on a brand new sheet. So click on the top choice, and I'm going to call this sheet Column, as in a column chart. I'll click OK, and I've now put the chart onto a separate sheet. Now it is still linked back to my source data. Now if I decide that I want to make some changes to this, for example, maybe I want to put a label on the side axes. So to make changes to the layout of my chart, I go to the On-Demand Green Chart Tools. I go to the Layout tab underneath Chart Tools and click. The ribbon changes. I'm going to go to a Labels part of the ribbon, the Labels group. I'll click on Axes Titles, and I'll move down to where it says Primary Vertical Axis Title. There's different choices that you can try out on your own. I'm going to move across to where it says Vertical Title and click. It puts a text box on for me. Now I don't need to click, I just start typing. I'm going to put in the full word dollars. It actually shows up here up in the formula bar. I'll just touch enter on my keyboard, and that'll drop the word dollars into the left-hand side of the chart. Now the title was automatically picked up from when I selected my data. So and also all of the names of the suppliers were automatically selected when I chose my data as well. I might, for example, want to put some other things onto my chart. So I'll move up to the ribbon and I'll look for the one that says Data Labels. I'll click on that button and I'll click on Show, and that'll show the actual values on top of each of the columns. To turn that off, I go back to Data Labels again and click on None. Now in this case, I want to either turn off the legend or see if I can move the legend around. So go back up again to the ribbon. I'll click on the Legend button. Now I can move it around to different locations. Now in this case here, because my title is the same as my legend, I'm going to turn the legend off by clicking on None, and the legend is no longer showing up on my screen. So I can easily change the layout of my chart by going under the Chart Tools, On Demand, click on the Layout tab, and make changes in the Labels area. Now if I want to be able to change the color of the columns in my chart, I'll put my mouse on one of the columns, and I'll do a right click. On the shortcut list that opens up, I'll click on with my left mouse Format Data Series. It takes me into a Format Data Series window. On the left side of this window, I'll click on the fill choice. I want to change the fill color of the chart columns. On the right side, I'll click on solid fill. Lower down, there's a color box. There's the paint can. I'll click on the drop down arrow, and instead of the current color, I'll choose purple. I'll click on close, and I've now changed the colors of the columns in my chart. That's one example of doing a chart, creating a column chart. I want to go through and do a second example of creating a chart. This time I'll be creating a pie chart. I'm back in the same worksheet that I used on the previous example, and this time what I want to be able to do is to create a pie chart that shows the different suppliers' names and the amount of the supplies that they sold to this organization. So step number one, I'm going to select the list of suppliers. And now on my keyboard, I'm going to hold the control button down. I'm going to put my mouse on cell D4 and get a white cross and select down to row 15. I have to use the control button in a case like this because the data that I want to include in my chart is not next to each other. So to choose non-adjacent parts of a worksheet, you choose the first part with your mouse, then you use the control button and choose the second part with your mouse. Now there has to be the same number of cells in both ranges in order for the chart to be built. I'm now going to go to the Insert tab above the ribbon. I want to insert a chart. I'm going to move into the ribbon on the Charts group. I'll click on the Pie button and move below where it says 3D Pie. And my preferred choice when I do a pie chart is a pie in 3D. I'll click on that. I now have a pie chart created. It's going to be on the same sheet as my data. I could leave it here if I chose to. I'm going to move it onto a separate sheet. So again, my on-demand tools show up. I'll move across on the ribbon. I'll click on Move Chart. I'm going to put this as a new sheet. I'll call this Pie. I'll click OK. I now have my pie chart on a brand new sheet. I want to change the layout of the chart, so I'll go underneath the On-Demand Chart Tools. I'll click on the Layout tab. In this case, what I want to do is turn off the legend. So I'll click on Legend. I'll click on None, and the legend is turned off. Now the problem obviously I have with this is that I have no idea what the pieces of the pie stand for. So what I want to do in this case is I want to add some data labels onto the pieces of the pie. So I'll click on Data Labels up on the ribbon. Now if I were to choose one of these choices, it's going to put the actual value of each piece of the pie on the piece of pie. In my case, what I want to do is I want to put the name of the supplier on and the percentage of each piece of the pie compared to the entire pie. So to do more than one choice as far as a data label, I've got to get to a separate window. And the last choice on the drop-down list will take me to the separate window. So I'll move down and click on More Data Label Options. And in this window, I'll move this off to the side so you can see what's happening. In this window, it automatically chooses to put the value on the pieces of the pie. I'm going to take the value check mark out, taking the values off the pie chart. Instead, I'll click on Category Name. That'll put on the names of the suppliers. And then I also want to put a percentage on as well. So I'll put a check mark next to both category name and percentage. Now lower down, I can decide how to position my labels. So I'm just going to choose some different choices. And my preferred choice is to have it as an outside end. I'll click on Close. And I now have a pie chart created that shows my suppliers and their percentage of each piece of the pie.
So there you go, some powerful information that you can use in the future to create charts in Microsoft Excel. You can, again, this video shows you how to create a pie chart and a pie chart and a column chart. You can use the same idea to sort of expand from that and create for yourself line charts and other kinds of charts on Microsoft Excel. Please visit our website. Our website has a lot of different videos on it that help you become more effective as you use Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, and so on. Our website is www.joecomputertips.com. Thanks again.